Oh, snap. Your voices have been heard. I get to cover one of my favorite childhood comic book stories in Spider-Man Revenge of the Sinister Six because I asked in the poll to the Geek Corner members, do you want me to cover this story? And unanimously, you guys said yes. So guess what? We are covering part one of Spider-Man Revenge of the Sinister Six. Yo, what are we waiting on? Roll that intro, cuz. Yeah. What's going on, Geek Corner members? This is your boy, Earth Mac, the Mad Scientist, and welcome back to the Orange Phoenix channel and another episode of Comic Book Declassified, where we cover the most current issues in comics, as well as past issues in comics, as well as character bios, if you ask for it. Do not forget to hit that like and subscribe button and that notification bell. That way you get notified on all of our content, whether it's recorded or live. See, you already see it. You already see it. Got the Spider-Man hoodie on because you guys unanimously voted and y'all said yes. Y'all want me to cover Spider-Man Revenge of the Sinister Six, and I'm covering it in parts. I'm stretching this thing out. This is one of my favorite Spider-Man stories out there. So what are we waiting on? Let's get into some part one of Spider-Man Revenge of the Sinister Six. So Spider-Man Revenge of the Sinister Six is written by Eric Larson. Pictures and words. Rick Parker is lettering. Gregory Wright is coloring. Danny Figueroa editing. Tom DeFalco, editor and chiefing. Listen, this story is great, man. It's like, look, I'm going to get my boys, you get your boys, and we're going to just have an old-fashioned hootenanny out here. But we'll get to that momentarily once we cover further parts. But let's get into some part one. Page one is out the gate with Ghost Rider and Spider-Man fighting this cyborg, and this cyborg is wreaking havoc all over the mall. Obviously, innocent blood has been spilled. So Ghost Rider says, yo, I'm hearing this, I'm pulling up. And Spider-Man just so happened to be there fighting the cyborg. So they did a team up to try to take this cyborg down. And Ghost Rider, obviously, in his normal way of saying things, this is the 90s Ghost Rider, you know what I mean? He says, stand aside, Spider-Man. His heinous deeds must be punished. He must pay for all of the innocent blood that he has spilled. In choosing the path of evil, he must now face the spirit of vengeance. And we go over to the next page, and listen, this cyborg is no slow lead because he knocked Ghost Rider clean off his bike, and he states, be wary, hero. He's not what he seems. And this is the Spider-Man that always cracks jokes in the middle of a fight. Like this is different type of Spidey, and this is a Spidey that we all know and love. And he said, you hear that, Chuckles? Ghost Rider says, you may not be a psychotic transformer after all, as he dodges an energy blast from this cyborg. Now, one thing you need to realize, this cyborg is actually talking to himself. Like, he's dealing with a lot of pain internally, and Spider-Man recognizes that, even in his normal quips. And he said, look, fella, I can understand you wanting to make it on the evening news. It's great publicity for your business and all that. It's just that there isn't that much of a need for another destructive, shape-changing psychopath. There's barely enough work to go around as it is. Times are tough all over. Perhaps another line of work would. And you see this transformer transforms and shoots out of the mall, only to be met by Ghost Rider flying up in his motorcycle, punching this guy in the face. And obviously, Spider-Man liking it. He's like, nice jump. I got to get me one of those things. I got to get me that bike. But they continue to fight this cyborg, and he crashed through this building, but it was skidding across. And obviously, Spider-Man, his quips, Ghost Rider got a little weary of it. He said, listen, your oral onslaught has no effect on him, Spider-Man. Might I suggest to spend more effort trying to stop this maniac and less on your clever repartee? And he was like, look, you know how to hurt a guy, dude. He said, look, Ghost Toasties, this is for your benefit too. I'm trying to get you to lighten up. You sound like a broken record, you big stiff. Now, Ghost Rider saved, I wouldn't say save Spider-Man because, you know, he could stick to walls and he could have saved himself. But he really wanted to save the cyborg's life because he knows there's a human inside of it. But Ghost Rider stopped him from actually going crashing down in the building below. And he says, I wonder if we'll ever know what that was all about. And Ghost Rider says, perhaps not. But the important thing is that the menace is over. I was alerted to his pointless rampage when innocent blood was spilled. I'll sought to end the slaughter. Vengeance have been served. And he responds, yeah, maybe. Or maybe we helped put a unintelligible innocent man caught in a machine to his death. Either way, I'm not too happy about it. And so that goes off. And he said, look, I'm calling S.H.I.E.L.D. to go find the body. Now, you think the cyborg is gone, but he's not. And he keeps saying the word Dominic. He's like, Dominic, is that you? And we're going to put a pin in that story because maybe he may pop up later on in the story, maybe in other parts. Now, we go over to Sandman. Now, Sandman says, look, that's where the Casadas live, where I used to board before Miss Casada and the rest of the world found out that I was Sandman. Dr. Octopus threatened to kill them even if I didn't follow his orders, join up with his group, the Sinister Six. Well, I ended up betraying him, so I like to check in on him from time to time. As soon as he says this, there's a huge explosion, and that's the house that he was looking after. And he goes over and he finds out, hey, listen, the family is hurt. Some of them may not be alive anymore. Some of them may be in a coma, but he is absolutely positively pissed. And he said, listen, beware, Art. You've got Sandman hating your guts. It's time that someone teaches you a thing or two about fear. I'm coming for you, Octopus, and I won't stop until you're dead. Now, meanwhile, Dr. Octopus got a major power boost because he got his hands or arms on some adamantium arms. Now, okay, of course, we are familiar with adamantium as far as the metal. It's unbreakable metal, right? Not invulnerable. But imagine those adamantium arms on Dr. Octopus and his level of intelligence that he has. And he's basically saying, listen, no one can stop me. He basically snaked these arms from a dealer, basically takes out the dealer, and other cyborgs and robots show up to try to take Doc Ock down. Obviously, he's having the time of his life. He is having a ball, but he's looking to handle certain individuals. And he's like, okay, people can't stop me. And I can become one of the most powerful people in the world. He said, listen, with these arms in my hands, I can crush any foe. Even gods like Thor or brutes like the Hulk will fall to my newfound might. There's no stopping me now. But then he stops to think about it. He said, listen, I think it's safe to say that work, I need more. My plans require more than an addition of 2 pairs of indestructible arms. True, I'm the most powerful I've ever been, but it's not enough. I'll need men, people under me that I can command, powerful people. I can unequivocally assume that there's nobody I can trust, but perhaps there are some I can mold, manipulate to do my bidding. And if I'm going to lead a revolt, I'll need weapons. With the old man out the way, I got full access to his accumulations. I must have more. It would take a great deal of firepower to realize my objective. My goals are ambitious. It's the time that they became reality. Soon, the world will be mine. Now, we go over to the next page, and the one thing that we always love about Spider-Man in its totality is the fact that he has real world problems. He's not this over-the-top type of hero that has cosmic powers and all this other stuff. He's a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, so he deals with everything, everyday situations like, you know, bills and, you know, relationships. And in this particular comic, he is indeed married to Mary Jane, and Mary Jane is pretty much trying to be an actor. Like, she's a model. I mean, you can tell by the panel, she is shaped like a model. Redhead. I mean, you know, Peter Parker's lucky. You know, he got himself a hottie for a wife. So it goes on to say, hey, Peter, I just got off the phone with my agent. I'm leading candidate for the starring role in the next Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. Clever wording because, you know, copyright and all that. And he says, yes, apparently the director want me for a part in a big way. And if you can believe it, I'm Arnold's biggest fan of the soap that I act on. He says, cool. All right, what else? He said, you know, I love a good Schwarzenegger flick. And he says, there's one thing I didn't mention. I'll be playing Lady of the Night, and there will be some nude scenes involved with me, that is. And he's like, oh, I don't think I'm too comfortable with that, man. we have little privacy enough as it is, and I'm not comfortable with other people seeing every contour of your. And at that moment, Mary Jane flips. Now, this is like a real life situation. You know what I'm saying? If this was to happen in real life, I feel like this is how some conversations will actually go. And she says, look, I knew you object to it. This will be a huge break for me. Doesn't that mean anything? A lot of famous actresses have done nude scenes. It's expected. He said, I just don't like the idea of sharing your nakedness with the rest of the world. Maybe I'm being silly, but I really rather keep that part of you to myself. Besides, I'd rather not have guys looking at us funny. And she says, it's my body and my career. I cannot believe you're such a prude. It's the 90s, Peter. Love that era, the 90s. He says, you're too comfortable with this. You wouldn't regret doing this? And she says, it's a big movie and it will be my first movie. I'm not going to let you or anyone stand in my way of that. Besides, I don't even have the part yet. You know, Tiger, sometimes you could be a real square. And he responds, Mary Jane. So when you go back and look at it, like, Peter Parker always been picked at when he was in high school. Like, he been called a square, you know, you're boring, you're corny. And so for your wife to call you that, it might be a little triggering. But to go back to Sandman. Now, Sandman is being met by what is used to be the Sinister Six. And Electro goes on to say, I'm happy you could join us, friend. We come together again with a common goal to eliminate Dr. Octopus. He betrayed us, and now we'll make him pay. Sandman's like, listen, I don't care about none of that. I just know I'm on the straight. You guys still criminals. But if we got a common goal to take out Dr. Octopus, I'm out. I'm with it. I'm with it. So, you know, Sandman still has his reservations about that. So he tried to enlist someone else. But before that, he went to go visit the Casadas. And we know that Mrs. Casada is still in the hospital, that she's speaking, but she's actually hurt. He said, listen, I don't trust the other members of the Sinister Six. Think I'll get myself back up, man. A backup man, just in case things don't go as smoothly as my pals seem to think they will. And bet you remember that triggering thing I was telling you about? Well, here comes Spider-Man. He says, you really know how to get to me, Mary Jane. Calling me a square really burns me up. Even after all these years, guess I'll never really got over the ridiculing that I received in high school. Those insecurities are still there, and all it takes is a little nudge to bring them back up to surface. Getting bit by a radioactive spider and joining the Long Underwear Characters Union hasn't changed a thing. And then shortly after that, it's just inner dialogue because he talks to himself while he's well swinging. That's how he clears his head. He meets up with Sandman. Sandman says, listen, bro, I need your help. The Sinister Six are looking to take out Dr. Octopus, but I need you to back me up just in case things go left. And he was like, all right, cool. It might seem fun. So we go here into this pier-like area, and the Sinister Six, Electro says, I practically killed the guy to get this information. We'll surprise him all at once. He'll never know what hit him. Spider-Man is in the shadows. He's like, listen, I love a parade. He wanted to take pictures, but she's like, you know what? I can't take pictures because Sandman's the only person to know that I'm here. And he may put two and two together, but he's not exactly a rocket scientist. So I might be able to take some pictures. But Dr. Octopus was expecting them. He says, welcome to my humble abode. I've been expecting you. Have any trouble parking? Mysterio was like, damn. Oops. Electro was like, look, give it up, Octopus. It's all over. And he responds, funny. That's just what I was going to say to you. And Spider-Man is like, sheesh. They're landing it on a bit thick. And his spider sense goes off, and I mean off to a high levels. And that is the end of part one. What will happen in part two? Listen, we are going to get to that point momentarily. I hope you guys enjoyed part one of Revenge of the Sinister Six. And if you haven't read Revenge of the Sinister Six, go ahead and check that out. All right. So now I will tell you, we're going to cover all parts of Revenge of the Sinister Six. And I will put that in a playlist. That way you can look at all of them all at once. So I hope you guys enjoy this rendition of Spider-Man Revenge of the Sinister Six. Now, here's another recommendation for you guys. I know last video we did Power Rangers Prime #1. Another recommendation for comics is from Image, and it's G.I. Joe #1. Go ahead and check that out. And do not forget to hit that like and subscribe button and that notification bell. So until next time, y'all, Peace.